You either have the courage to sell, or you will work for someone who does. Let me say it again. You either have the courage to sell, or you will work for someone else who has the courage to sell, because that person will employ you.
So the question is this: how do thought leaders, school dropouts, former and current students find out what's next after they do or don't cross that stage? If you want to know the secrets to starting the career or business of your dreams, getting paid whatever you desire, and discovering what you do the best with the least amount of effort, then this is the right podcast for you. I'm Shawn Anthony, and this is School's Over. Now What? The podcast. Welcome to School's Over Now What? The podcast, and I'm your host, Shawn Anthony. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your very first time clicking that button. I have to let you know what this show is all about. Each and every single week, we continue to bring you an inspiring person or a message that's going to help take you to the next level. But most importantly, everyone on this show has answered the question we have all asked ourselves at some point in our lives, and that's school's over, now what? And this show is completely blown up. If you're first time ever clicking that button and checking us out, this show is a top 100 business podcast on iTunes, and it will be nothing without you. And with that being said, let's kick this thing off with the review of the week. And this week's review of the week comes from Dr. Michaela Herndon. And she wrote, I listen to so much content that I have a critical ear. Since I use podcasts and books as a regular part of my prescription of self-development and business growth, I need something authentic, relatable, and dope. This is without a doubt all of those. Definitely a podcast to keep in your rotation. Dr. Michaela Herndon, I appreciate you for that, guys. And if you feel the same exact way, please scroll to the bottom of your screen right now. If you're listening to this on iTunes, click that 5-star rating and hit that review. It means so much and has helped us in many ways continue to grow the show and bring you top-notch caliber people to tell their stories. Only here each and every single Friday. And if you guys want more of this podcast, be sure to check out our IG Live series that happens on Mondays. That's right. Each and every single Monday at 9 p.m., I go live with a new guest for our fresh new series called Coronavirus Now What? How entrepreneurs are coping. And we're seeing some amazing testimonials of people loving this stuff. And we're going to keep giving it to you. And we're back this Monday with Tiffany Montgomery. Catch her on live at my Instagram at ShawnRAnthony _ at 9 p.m. Monday, May the 4th. With that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Are you thinking of starting a business? You're going to need a website. Or do you have a business but haven't updated your website in over 2 years? Then you need to hear this. Olive Branch Digital will help you create the website of your dreams. They are masters at turning your ideas to responsive websites that get picked up on Google and all the major search engines. Stop wasting time trying to learn the code and visit olivebranchdigital.com. Mention the podcast and get 10% off your website project. This episode is brought to you by www.patreon.com/schoolsover.nowwhat. For as low as $5, you can help us impact more people, tour schools, and reach communities. You also get exclusive Patreon-only content. That's bonus episodes, early access, and be able to go behind the scenes with me and some of our guests. Visit www.patreon.com/schoolsover.nowwhat and become a patron today. All right, let's get to the reason you clicked that button today. Our guest is none other than Cathy Heller. Cathy Heller is an amazing online business coach helping so many people, as well as the host of a very big podcast called Don't Keep Your Day Job. And what I like so much about this particular episode is we're really going to talk about how to not only become truly engaged with your audience and with people, but also leading differently, especially in the times we are right now, with a word that should not be taken lightly, and that is with empathy. This is like a master class in one podcast episode. You know the deal. Grab your pencil, grab your paper, however you take notes, hit the save button. Right now, if you're driving in your car to somewhere, you're going to want to come back to this one. This is a lot of free game. Enjoy episode 101 with none other than Cathy Heller. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast, and I'm here with the one and only host of Don't Keep Your Day Job herself, Cathy Heller, is on the podcast today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. It's a weird time, but I'm happy to be on here with you. This sounds like fun. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So somebody right now, they're looking you up as always, right? They're trying to figure out who's this guest on the show, right? Who's this person? Take us back to like just the beginning of you, like in childhood and just growing up.
Oh, man. Yeah, I grew up in South Florida, and my parents fought all the time, and they were not so happy. And they modeled for me, you know, that being an adult meant being pretty miserable in your career and your marriage, all the things. My parents eventually broke up. My mom was very suicidal, actually. And we didn't have a lot of, just a lot was missing. Anyway, I wound up moving out to LA 17 years ago, and I was searching for meaning, life, answers, and I wound up building a business doing stuff that I love, and it's been pretty cool. I feel like we sometimes think it's either we get lucky and we're Beyonce, or we spend our life miserable working for someone else, and that's really how it is. There's no in between. But what I've come to realize is that there's so much in between Beyonce or bust. There's so much, and in today's moment, I have 3 kids. And I have a multi-7-figure business. Really, it's just kind of amazing. And I do things that I love that feel really purposeful. And I didn't have to sell my soul. And I didn't have to choose between being a nice person or having money. I didn't have to choose between being a mom or having a job that I love. I think that I was able to just figure it out. And now I teach people how to grow a business doing what you love. I teach people how to build a really engaged following and how to monetize. And I teach people that it's all about empathy. That's the big secret. So that's my life.
Wow. I mean, so many things I think that are important that what you do. It's so funny you mentioned Beyonce. We had Matthew Knowles on the show, her dad, not too long ago. And he would definitely agree with everything you said there. So I got to ask you, you mentioned a lot of things that are important to help shape who you are today. Growing up, right, as that kid, was there certain things that, caught Cathy's attention that made her have, this big heart, but also leading, with empathy? Was it something that happened back then that really got you to that today?
Yeah, it's a really good question. You're a good listener, and you really pick up on the clues. Yeah, I think as a kid, I was the peacemaker, and my parents would fight, and I would try to mediate, and my mom got really depressed, and I would try to be there, like Jiminy Cricket, trying to you can fly. That was my job in the family, and I always was that person for all my friends, sort of like the go-to listener or the person who could reflect back. My husband says that my most famous line is who does that? I'll say to somebody, who does that? Look what you do. Look who you are. And I think I've always had the ability to shine a big light on other people's gifts. And I think it comes from really seeing people's pain. I think that I'm aware of that all the time. If I'm sitting with someone, people say, well, if you're going to go speak in front of a crowd, picture everybody in their underwear. People say that. And I don't do that, but I picture everybody's heartbreak because I know that that's the common denominator. We've all been through it. We're all having a human experience. And because I know that, I try to meet people there before I'm worried about them hearing me, before I'm worried about an agenda. I just try to meet people in that space. I think that people could never have enough presence, of somebody else just to witness, just to sit with us in whatever it is. And we're not really taught to do that. I just think it's something that's missing. I think that there's a big empathy deficit in the world.
Yeah, I think what you'll find out, especially in the times we're in right now, is we all can remember the person who said, hey, how are you doing? Are you doing okay? Especially with all this going on how important is it? Like, you help so many people across the country and across the globe on leading with empathy. How important is it right now to lead that way with your own business?
It's always that way. It's always that way. It's always been that way. Business is intimacy at scale. And so it's so important now, but it always was. I think the difference between now and then, since it was always important, is that now there's even more permission for you to do it because everyone is so desperate for eye contact, for human connection right now. So there's even more of an opportunity to raise your hand and be available to show up for other people, but it was always that way. And I learned that that's how you stand out. If you want to have no competition and be a category of one, lead with empathy. And then how do you do that? How do you really show up and do that? And that's what I realized, that's what business is. Business is radical amounts of empathy constantly. And we could talk about, sort of what that looks like.
Yeah, let's break that down. I want to give people something practical they can take away. In terms of right now, right, we all know COVID-19 is here and people are having to adjust. In terms of right now, in someone's business, they're scared to sell, right? They think everyone financially doesn't have the money right now. What is a way of getting that product, that service out, but also being mindful of what's happening?
Okay, well, two things. First of all, I want to just address the feeling, which is that they're scared to do that. Maybe they feel insensitive to do that, or maybe they feel like no one's out there. There's so much scarcity, nobody has the money to buy. So I just want to address both of those things and then talk about the how. First of all, you either have the courage to sell or you will work for someone who does. Let me say it again. You either have the courage to sell or you will work for someone else who has the courage to sell, because that person will employ you. So really ask yourself, is it that you are against people selling stuff because you think it's insensitive, or you just don't have the courage? Now, is it because you just don't think that what you're selling is valuable enough? Because the deal is, selling is serving. It really, really is. If you really understand what makes a business work, and we're going to get into it, I'll tell you from the most granular level, a sale is about really understanding your customer. So if you're making something that someone else needs, why would you not want to put that out in the world? And the second part that we just laid out is maybe you just think there's scarcity. Maybe it's not that you don't believe in what you're doing or you do have the courage to sell, you just think nobody has money. So that's not true. What we are seeing right now is that, yes, there is like an unbelievable amount of unemployment, and that is true. And that's part of the story, right? There's also other things that are true. It depends on where you're looking, right? You'll find evidence for whatever you believe is the truth. You go, see, that proves it, that proves it. So it depends where you're looking. Like if you came to LA and you went to downtown and you looked at the city and the filth and whatever, you go, LA, ugh, right? But if you went to the ocean and you go, oh, I just came back from LA, we were up in Bel Air and the mountains and we took hikes. Oh my God, LA is amazing. Oh, really? I was in LA and I didn't see that. It depends what you're looking at. So right now what we know in the market is that there are people who usually spend this time going on vacation. They're not spending that money in Tahiti right now. They're spending that money online. The data that we're seeing is showing that there's a 300% increase in online sales and activity. So I'm just saying the truth. The data doesn't lie. And what the data is showing is people are buying things online. People are buying courses. People are buying products. People are buying baking gear. Hasbro is having the biggest peak that they've ever seen. People are buying Monopoly games and jigsaw puzzles. People want to bake all of a sudden. People are buying crafting stuff. People are buying membership communities, yoga classes. So I don't know what to tell you other than that's what the data shows, is that people are buying things like crazy and wanting to be a part of things that make them feel entertained, things that make them feel connected, and things that make them feel productive. So you can sit down, sit on your hands and say, no one's buying and I would be insensitive to sell. That's fine. That's a choice. Or you can go serve these people who every day, the only thing they have is the internet. The only thing they have is Zoom and Skype. And they are looking desperately for ways to spend money to connect. And I would say maybe this is a blessing, because maybe some of the businesses that won't survive, maybe we don't need more stuff. Maybe the world doesn't need more stuff being produced. Maybe the environment needs a break. And maybe what we need to understand is that a year ago, before Corona, before the pandemic, a year ago, 1.6 million people attempted suicide in this country, okay? We know that 54% of the country before Corona was dealing with depression. That's an amazing amount. So maybe we had a problem already. And maybe now we're understanding isolation in a different way, and we are proactively connecting, reaching out to family members that you normally didn't, talking to friends, understanding how important connection and community is, because there's been such a spotlight on the fact that we're isolated, but we always were. So maybe new businesses will be created. Maybe you'll realize that instead of stuff, what people really need, like I said, is presence, is connection, and maybe there's amazing businesses that will grow out of that. So that's a little bit of what I see in this moment. And then I would be, I'm going to take a pause because I'm going to give you a chance to share if you want to. And then I'd be happy to go into, so how do you launch this business, or how do you build it?
Yeah, I think that's, you're giving gems on top of gems. Right now, this is the moment where someone won't keep their day job, right? They definitely won't want to keep it. They've been furloughed. They thought maybe retail was it, and maybe they realize now, hey, I might need to be something that's essential. Maybe I might need to create something that's essential. Maybe I might need to pour into somebody. I think right now, and I definitely agree with you, I think right now people are about to do things and create things that we know or didn't even know existed. Not only did we know didn't exist, but we didn't know we never needed until now. And I think that's the beautiful thing that's going to come out of this. There's also this thing of people comparing themselves to other people, whether they're in the same industry or the same field or the same genre. And they're thinking, okay, this person's connecting with this person, why can't I? Right now, everybody is on breaks. So if everybody is on pause mode, you can be building yourself up. You can be setting, the right things in place. So when we are on go mode, people that were at the bottom are going to quickly rise to the top. People that were at the top and got comfortable, lost their hunger, are going to find themselves out of the order. So I think right now the playing field has been leveled. And I think we're going to see some amazing things. So I got to throw it back at you. And someone saying, I got Cathy, I got Shawn right now. I'm listening to both of them. How do we create these businesses? How do we do these things?
All right, so let's go back to what I keep saying. People are like, that sounds really nice, but what is this chick talking about? What does it mean business is empathy? Okay. The difference between a hobby and a business, by definition, a hobby is I do this thing because I like it. I paint, I draw, I sing, I whatever. It's about me. If I'm in it, I'm in it. If I'm not, I'm not. I don't care. It's my thing. It's my jam, right? If it's a business, it means someone else is paying me. Okay. So what does that mean? It means someone else wants or needs the thing I'm doing because they're going to pay me for it. All right. Let's get clear. This is about other people. So now it's not about, do I just want to do it? It's about what are the things I like to do that could serve somebody else? What's my jam? What do I love? Well, I love baking. All right, well, I like baking these like really cool popovers and I like this, but everyone always asks me about those vegan brownies. I don't care about vegan brownies, but I really do like to cook and I like to bake. And if I could, I would love to make vegan brownies all day rather than working at that day job. But, I never thought about the vegan brownies, but yeah, people tell me that all the time. All right, let's talk about that. So you start with, what do I love to do that also serves a need for other people? And then you're going to start super, super granular. I want you to think of one person who would eat those vegan brownies, one human being that you know. I want you to call her up or DM her and be like, hey, Jody, have you ever tried anything like this? If you have, what did you like about it? What did you not like about it? And do you like this? Okay. So, hey, I'm about to create an online course for moms and their kids to do some crafting stuff. Who would be one human, who might want that? Oh, my friend Stacy, she's got a daughter who's 6. She's got a son who's 8. I wonder if she'd be interested in doing this right now during the pandemic. Let me just call her up, get her on Zoom. All right, Stacy, this is what I'm thinking. And she goes, interesting. Yeah, I'm really crafty DIY. Oh, that would be fun. Well, what are you thinking of doing? I'm thinking this, this, and this. So run it by her. Then say, have you ever tried anything like this? We tried one thing like it. Here's why it didn't work. There wasn't enough accountability. We never finished the project. Or you know what? It was too overwhelming. It was too complicated. Oh, good. Got it. Okay, so we start by, who am I serving? What does this person need? Now, my job is to validate this product. concept, right? So proof of concept. This is a business. So I'm going to get one person to be satisfied, and she goes, these brownies were awesome. Or you know what? Yeah, I loved it. You gave me a sample of what that DIY crafting, mom-daughter crafting thing would be on Zoom. It's dope. Cool. Now, can I think of 3 more people who would like it? Now I'm starting to cook. I'll tell you why. Every human being who is online, on average, has 400 Facebook friends. That's just the average. A lot of people, you're like, I have so many more than that. Awesome. Good for you. So that means every time you serve someone, everything is word of mouth. So if you can serve 3 people and you validate that proof of concept, they're like, I am all in. I love those brownies. Yes. Now you know that somebody else who is exactly like this person wants this thing, and you're going to get it out there. And the best way is for you to serve so well these 3 people, they can't help but go tell their 40 friends, you guys, you got to get in on this. Let me give you an example. Janae Claiborne, awesome woman. She started this YouTube channel called Sweet Potato Soul. She was living in New York City, waitressing, wanting to be an actress. She was waitressing at this vegan restaurant. I don't know why all my examples are vegan right now. I'm not even a vegan, but God bless the vegans. I think it's awesome. All right, so she was working at this restaurant, and she realized, I don't really want to be an actress. I think I really want to help people be vegan. So she decided to put out one little baby test. She said to a friend, would it help you if I meal prepped for you? Do you think that you would eat vegan if I came to your house and prepped some stuff for you at the end of the week? She's like, totally. I've told you that like 50 times. I just can't do it. It's too hard. It's too much work. Blah, 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 blah. Let me do it. She starts to do this for her friend for a couple weeks. And then her friend's like, I live and die by the food you're bringing over. Can you do it more? She's like, yeah. Would you pay me this to do it? She's like, 100,000%. You're saving me money. You're saving me time. I buy food anyway. Go to the grocery store, except I'm not eating well, blah, blah, blah. Great. She gets the one client. Her friend, this is a true story, and I could literally give you 1,055 examples like this. Her friend then told one other woman, who told one other woman. She had 3 humans in the world, 3 in the whole world that wanted her to do this vegan meal prep. She was able to quit her waitressing job. From there, she said, what else could I offer? And she had this tiny little apartment in New York and a table that could seat 6 people squeezed together. She's like, maybe I'll make these supper clubs and I'll serve a dinner. We'll have really good table talk and I'll put a price on it and I'll do it once a month. And then it grew. What else could I do? I could create recipe books, ebooks, and now, of course, giant. But every single person I know, Howard Schultz was on my show. He created something called Starbucks. It started with one kiosk. Could I sell a Frappuccino? Would someone pay for that? That was his question. Instead of, going to get the eggs and the bacon, would someone come just for coffee? Like, would they do that? Let me see if I could prove that concept. And then it was like, oh my God, the specificity of just the Frappuccinos, people loved it. And then he was like, oh my God, maybe I could create one little shop in the corner of somebody else's little shop, right? That's all he started with, a little kiosk. And it grew and it grew and it grew. So what you're going to do is you're going to think, what do I love to do that could be of use to someone else? And can I think of one person to just go and talk to? Now, here's the deal. This is what every single company does every day. Data. They want surveys. They want focus groups. Nike, Coca-Cola, Dove Soap, Nabisco. I don't care what business you're in. If you own the yoga studio down the block, if you are in any business, you are wanting to know your customer. What do you wear? What do you need? What is your pain point, right? You asked me before we started the show, do you have any questions? I said, tell me about your audience and what they need, right? Because I want to know how to meet people. So that's where it begins. And then we can talk about how to grow your audience, how to scale that, and all that stuff.
Hey guys, so let me take a guess. You're enjoying the show. And if that's right, please make sure that you take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast right now and tag me at ShawnRAnthony_. I promise you this is going to help in amazing ways. And while you're at it, hit the 5-star rating and subscribe. With that being said, guys, let's get back to the show. Facts, man. You're dropping so many gems of knowledge. And what I like too.
I love you, Shawn. I'm gonna sit with you all day every day.
You're dropping knowledge. What I like so much, and you have so many different people that've been on your show who definitely share that same philosophy. You had Barbara from Shark Tank on your show, which is another person that I think is a great example of everything you just said. Somebody right now, they're fired up, right? After listening to you. They're like, you know what? I can do this. All I need to do is have my one shop. And okay, how do I got my one shop, and now my one shop is becoming a store, or however, whatever works for them. But they want to create what I like to call an engaged following behind them, so that when this shop goes well, people are talking about it here, they're talking about it there. For you, you've been good at creating an engaged following. What's your tips on how people can do that?
Yeah, and you're so right. And I love that you get that, because a lot of people are so obsessed with numbers. Like, I want 100,000 Facebook followers. I want 200,000 people follow me on Instagram. What's more important for you, literally, that's going to affect your day-to-day is the engagement, right? It's better for you to have 2,000 followers and 100 people who see and comment on your posts than it would be to have this big number, but there's nothing really there, right? It's not really engaged. So how do you do that? Well, it is about a few things, okay? People, again, want to feel seen. That's what they want more than anything else. I want to say that when people get all fired up and then they don't do something, and then they're wondering what the heck is wrong, they think that they have a marketing problem, they think that they have a business problem, they probably have a courage problem. And so the deal is that the empathy I keep talking about, it has to work both ways, for yourself first and for the other person. You can't get someone home if you don't know their address, because you can't get them home. You don't know their address. You start with, I've been there. I'm going to meet you where you are. I get your address. Now I'm going to get you home, right? So it's not about fancy webinar funnels. It's not about the right pictures and all the stuff. It's the genuine, consistent presence. So you are going to show up genuinely, consistently, which is going to require courage, because you're not going to have perfect things to share. You're going to have mediocre things to share, but they're going to matter. And that's what's important. So what you're going to do is you're going to show up consistently, and you're going to start that conversation, and you're going to make it deep, because you're going to be vulnerable. So you're not going to worry about, oh God, I'm not the smartest. I'm not Shawn. I don't have this following. I'm not Ed Milet, whoever it is that you just mentioned, right? Because we were talking before about LA and you came out here to see him. It's not about that. Every single person is a part of the puzzle. What's the most annoying thing when you finish a puzzle and you're missing a piece, right? It ruins the whole thing. So it doesn't matter if you are not that top corner piece or the piece that shows the moon. You are needed in this puzzle. God made you. There's no extra pieces. I need that piece. So it's not, am I the only one allowed or capable? It's, are you available to add anything to the conversation? So whatever that thing is that you want to share, whether it is the vegan stuff for the food, or whether you do want to teach yoga online, or crafting, or hand lettering, or anything, remember that what you are, that's the superpower. And that people don't buy things, they buy feelings. So what you're going to do is you're going to start to talk and share organically. You're not going to sell your product. You're going to share about who you are, why you do this thing, a little bit about the what it is, and you're going to just be the person who consistently shows up. How do we learn things in school when we're kids? Repetition, right? So you can't say it enough. You think you're talking about it too much. You're not. They're barely hearing you. We know that Al Gore cares a lot about the environment because he said it about 14 million times, right? He might also care about women's wages. He might also care about racism. I don't know, because the only thing I heard him say was global warming, right? I heard it over and over. That's good, though. That's really good, because I associate him with that. So you want to start by creating consistent, just show up, just care. And then there's ways of breaking this down in a granular way. Like I would say posting once a day on Instagram. And then how do you get the engagement? Ask a question that's easy to answer. So it's not about look at me, it's come with me. So if I'm posting anything, again, I don't want to ask an open-ended, hard to answer question. Like, here's my post, and then let's say in the caption, I'm like, what's your biggest issue in life? I don't know. How am I going to answer you? But if I just want you to engage with me, maybe I'll say something in my post, right? You can have a picture or you have some kind of words. And then in the caption, I'll say, post the emoji that shows how you feel right now, or post the emoji that shows what you ate for breakfast. I recently was talking about engagement and I said, tell me in emojis what you just binged on Netflix. So I posted a heart and then a picture of a blind person, because I had just watched Love is Blind on whatever, and it was fun, and people were like trying to decode things. That's a fun way to engage. Also, it's all about bringing people into whatever content, right? So I started a podcast 3 years ago. We're now at about 15 million downloads in 3 years. People say, how'd you do that? I say, because I bring people in. So what does that mean? I do a show Monday and Thursday, and every Thursday, you better believe it, I'm reading letters from the audience. I'm shouting out my community saying, so-and-so just took 2 steps with their Etsy shop. Go follow her. So-and-so just started making cheesecake in Missouri. Go follow him. Shout him out. Talk to him. Here's his story. Then, every few episodes, I bring on those people taking those baby steps and do a whole interview with them. Shine a big light on them, because guess what? I have had Barbara Corcoran on the show. I have had all these fancy, cool people. Jenna Fisher, who I love from The Office. She played Pam Beasley. She was on. That's a great episode, talking about how she gets to be a great actress. But I love these people who started a side hustle and now make $3,600 extra a month. That's juicy to me. I'm in. I'm all in for that. So how do you do it? It's engagement. I'm a big fan of Facebook groups. People are like, what about Facebook pages? For me personally, I like a group because it's a two-way discussion. It's not, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. It's, how are you? What's going on with you? So we have like 20,000 people in the Facebook group. And I say to them, drop your links. Share your work. People go, oh my God, I've never been in a Facebook group that lets me do that. Really? Well, that's what this is about. Because I want you to share. Now, do I want you to sell and drop opt-in forms in here? No. But do I want you to show me that you are proud that you just finished this painting? You wrote a draft of this script. You're that, yes, I do. And yeah, I want you to tell us where we can find out more about you, because I want to support each other. And if you're struggling, I want you to tell me that you're struggling. So it's an invitation, like, let's do this together. And it's nonstop. If every single day you ask yourself the question, how can I show up for 3 people today? I've got more stuff for you. Shawn, I'm going to keep going.
Keep going. I like it.
Okay, so every day I would say to you, can you every day comment on 3 people's posts? Because people are like, no one comments on my stuff. How many things do you comment on every day? Roughly 72 things or nothing? Oh, nothing. Cool. Thank you so much for being honest, right? You got to give to get. We have a thing in humankind which is called emotional bank account. All right, you can't go to the bank and say, I want a withdrawal of like $1 million, and there's nothing in the account. That's called negative. There's no bank account. You got to make deposits with people. You got to make deposits, so you don't worry about what you're out after. There's no agenda. It's deposit, 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 and now there's a relationship. And now, if you need or want or think you can serve and you're looking for some reciprocal, sort of give and take, now it's on because there's a relationship. So I would say every day, can you set process goals, right? There's progress goals, which is like, I want to get an uptick in numbers and subscribe. What's the process look like? How are you breaking that down? If you want 1,000 more subscribers a month, that's 33 a day. Is that doable? Sure it is. So what does that mean? That means I probably should be having DMs with people, but real conversations. Maybe use that little voice note thingamajig. So I would say, can you have 10 voice notes going every day? Just 10. That's my process goal. And can I say to people, not, here's what I'm up to, but how about this one? I was looking at your feed and I saw that you did this. That touched me. And now watch this. Can you say more about that? People want to be heard. When you make that your business, I'm telling you, you don't ever have to worry. It is gold. It is gold. People say, so how do you have 15 million downloads in 3 years? I am obsessed with human beings. And I do this stuff every single day. This is it. And these are the things that matter. So do I waste money on fancy webinars, photos, ad copy, ad spend? No. I spend the time in the humans. I deposit. Every day I'm like, you just DM'd me, I'm DMing you back. I'm asking you a question. I want to know about your brother. I want to know about that story. That's good. Now I'm making real relationships. So when I go on book tour and this woman comes up to me and she goes, Kath, it's me, Sierra. I go, Sierra. I give her a hug. She goes, you know me? I'm like, yeah, we DM'd. You live in Athens, Georgia. I can't believe you drove all this way. How's the wedding cake business? She's like crying. I'm like, we talked. So do I know everybody? No. But do I have these deep connections? And then you know what happens, Shawn? They can't help it. They're like, I have to tell my friends about your show because it changed my life. Because you actually cared. Everybody has the ability to care. Are you the expert? No. Are you fancy? No. Are you the best? No. Can you care? Yes, you can care.
I wish there was like a flamethrower. If I had to, I mean, it's so true, and everything that you said is so real. You know, I coach clients myself, and it's always funny to see who's really ready to put in the work, right? Everyone's, I want people to talk when I talk. I want people to look at what I got going on. I thought it was funny, but so true. Are they going to invest the time to talk and listen to others? Because that's what's going to really capture people's attention. It's two things that come to my mind. If someone's listening right now, I want to know how to engage deeper. Two things come to my mind. And one of those things is buying into an ecosystem. And I've heard someone talk about this before, but it's so true, is if you had a course, right? Let's say right now you want to get closer to Cathy, and you want to know more about what she has going on, and you want to know about what Shawn has going on. If we have a course that's happening right now, you can literally buy that course and then show up at a speaking engagement, then show up in our DM, then show up at whatever thing, function, new book release, whatever it is. We're gonna see your name so much. We're gonna be so curious and asking, hey, what you got going on? And you look at it from that perspective. You also look at it from an engaging perspective. One of the most interesting DMs I found out is that simply asking people, how can I add value to you? People get shocked. They just fall apart. So listen to these tips. Write these things down and change how you're approaching your business today.
Beautiful. I love it. So beautiful.
I want to ask you a question, and we've asked this question to everybody that's been on this show. So whether you're that former college graduate, let's say you said forget college, you didn't graduate, you didn't cross that stage, you're asking yourself the question of the podcast: school's over, now what? What advice would Cathy Heller give?
I think that a lot of people at the age of 40 walk from the car to the office and say, who the hell's life is this? Like, I don't like this anyway. I checked all the boxes. I went to college. I got the job. I got the 401k. I'm miserable. I think what I've seen over and over, the number one regret of the dying is I didn't live life on my terms. So I would say, just because your parents might not have modeled for you that they felt really, really excited getting up every day, ask a new question. Is it possible that I can feel like myself? Can I come home to myself? Can I do something that feels like me? Because the number one thing I said people want us to be seen, that goes for you. That goes for you too. You want to feel seen. You want to feel like when you wake up every day, you're doing you, right? You're putting yourself in the world. Because I don't think the opposite of depression is happiness. I think it's purpose. I think as long as we have purpose, we're gonna be okay. I don't think it's always fun. I don't think life is always easy peasy. But when there's meaning and there's purpose every day, you get through it because you go, I'm making a difference. I'm being myself. So I would say it's not important what people tell you needs to be on your resume. It's important that you wake up and realize you are valued. God doesn't make extras. We need that puzzle piece. So really listen to that whisper. What calls you? Is it crafting? Is it coaching? Is it sports? Is it podcasting? What calls you? What calls you? Because there's room for you. And I'm here to tell you, we didn't even get into the whole story because it's not even important. What was important is what you zeroed in on. I'm so glad we talked about that. But my background is I had a record deal. I got dropped and then I became pretty unhappy. And then I wound up songwriting. I figured out how to songwrite for 10 years. And so I wrote music for all these different movies and TV shows like Pretty Little Liars and all this stuff. And I made a few $100,000 a year until I started teaching other songwriters how to do their thing. And I created an online course called 6-Figure Songwriting. Then I started a podcast. And now I wrote a book. And now I help people in general figure out how to monetize themselves so they could just be themselves, get paid to be you, right? So I'm saying, what if you asked a new question, which is, how could I add value to people's lives doing things I love. I guarantee you there's something epic there. And I know for a fact, because twice a week we share stories like this on my show. People whose last name is not Kardashian, people who didn't have trust funds. Howard Schultz grew up in public housing, my friend. He was poor. So the point, he's a billionaire now, right? Starbucks. So the point is, every single week I try to show people a new possibility because I believe we reach for the highest branch we can see. So what I'm saying to you is, as soon as you can see a possibility of the fact, see if you can answer that question. What would I love to do that I could add value to? Can I actually figure out a way to do that? And then could you find an example of 1 or 2 people on Instagram who do that thing? They get to make 7 figures and they're fill in the blank, doing any of those things that you think are super cool, right? Then you're going to start to see a possibility and you can start to reverse engineer that, or keep spending time with Shawn, or listen to any of his guests, or come listen to my show and we break it down for you. Success leaves clues. You can do this, and it's no joke. Like within a 30-day, 60-day part of time, if you have the courage to get out there and take action and start making offers, right? You're going to be able to start making money and replacing your day job and doing stuff that you feel much more excited about.
Facts. I mean, this episode is great. I mean, guys, you're getting a lot of good stuff from this one. Right now, somebody's like, you know what, Shawn, I'm just too interested in Cathy. Where can they find you? Like, where's all your social platforms?
Thank you. You're so sweet. So I'm at Cathy.Heller on Instagram, and the podcast is called Don't Keep Your Day Job wherever you listen to podcasts. And that's all the good stuff. And there's lots and lots of resources being pumped through both of those things every day.
Epic episode, guys. Always remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it. Yo, what you think? I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I want to know what you learned. So if you wouldn't mind, would you take a screenshot of you listening to the podcast on your phone right now? Upload to your Instagram stories, tag me at ShawnRAnthony_, and then let me know in that Instagram story what is one thing that you learned. I love hearing from you, my listeners, thought leaders, former or current students all around the world. Let me know, and while you're doing this, go inside the podcast app, subscribe, leave a 5-star review and a 5-star rating. Again, this helps us reach more people. And if you want to be a part of this mission, helping us change the world one person at a time, it makes a massive difference by you leaving a review. Thanks so much. I'll see you next week. And remember, dream it, believe it, go out and get it.